Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
A brutal loss by the Minnesota Vikings in so many ways tonight. Sunday Night Football, 22-6 at home to the Atlanta Falcons, and we will break it down from every angle here on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. This is Vikings Vent Line. It is the People Show. Elation last week, and now I think people are going to tee off on this team for an hour and a half or 2 hours tonight. This is the most fan-friendly show in all of Minnesota sports, so we will turn it over to you guys throughout the rest of the night here. If you'd like to get on the show, as always, send a request to vikingsventline@gmail.com. We'll try to get to as many of you as possible. We got the sports dad, Judd Zulgad, inside U.S. Bank Stadium right now. We got Declan Goff, our producer, spinning plates, and I am Phil Mackey. Before we give our biggest takeaways here and then get to some likely frustrated Vikings fans, North American Banking Company is presenting Vikings Vent Line tonight, as is Quick Trip, Judd Zulgad. I think a post-game Quick Trip stop could maybe help ease the tension, huh?
I think that might be a great idea, but if you're not going to make a post-game stop, a Quick Trip, I urge you tomorrow as we all get up and go to work, the Quick Trip is the place that you should stop. How about for breakfast? How about for lunch? How about a snack? As you can see right here, if you're watching this, Quick Trip has all of those offerings and so much more. I've been saying this for months now, but folks, it's a grocery store, but it's really a convenience store, which means it's all about you and your convenience, fast and friendly service as well. Don't forget to put the app on your phone. You will have everything ready for you the moment that you arrive, and then there is the quality gasoline guarantee. Quick Trip really, on a day when the Vikings didn't score a touchdown, Quick Trip scores a touchdown every time.
Wow, look at that. Wow, what a read there. Let's get right into it here, Joe. What was your main takeaway from just an atrocious, I'm going to call it a blowout loss at the end of the day to the Atlanta Falcons at home?
My main takeaway was that offensively, this was just, in every facet, it was terrible. It was terrible. Offensive line, which lost Ryan Kelly. Michael Juergens has to come in. Offensive line was terrible. I don't understand how the head coach called this game from a running game standpoint as well. But then there's no sugarcoating it. JJ McCarthy was terrible. There are some things I'm sure that you could absolve him from because of the offensive line's play, but it's not worth it right now. JJ McCarthy had an absolutely brutal game, as did the entire offense. And, it's funny because the first half ended just like it did in Chicago last week, which was the Jalen Naylor catch for a big gain that leads to a long field goal by Reichard. And the third quarter still was not great, but the fourth was outstanding. And so far, in 2 games now, that's the only really good quarter offensively that McCarthy and the Vikings have played. It's not good enough. They have a large enough sample size right now that they have to figure it out quickly. And I think you have to start by O'Connell probably adjusting things. First of all, I do not understand Aaron Jones, who I guess is a hamstring now, so he might not play next Sunday, but I don't understand him starting. Jordan Mason should start. They should have tried to establish the run. There were some 3rd and shorts where, that is now in this day and age with this team begging for a run play. They decided to throw, made no sense. But, make no mistake, this at least, JJ McCarthy had an awful, awful night. So I'm not going to come on the show as much as I like the kid and say it was anything but a terrible performance. But it was a terrible performance across the board. The only people I felt bad, 2 groups of people. The fans here who were unbelievable. The Falcons weren't up 14-0 on their first 2 possessions because of the fans. Michael Penix couldn't hear. He couldn't concentrate. And they were held to 2 field goals because of that. And then I also did feel bad for the defense because Bijan Robinson's a marvelous player, but I actually thought that the defense tonight held its own a lot, held the Falcons to field goals. It wasn't great, but they were exhausted. That's the thing I've talked about. The Vikings have to eat clock. They didn't do that. So just offensively, putrid game.
It was, yeah. I think there's 4, the Parker Roma revenge game would be, I guess, the 5th headline here. But as you're sort of parsing the main themes of tonight apart, I thought the Flores defense was awful for huge chunks of this game. And yeah, they did when it came down to it. All right, hold them to a field goal instead of a touchdown. Bend but don't break cliche. Credit to the fans, like you said, on a couple of those possessions for just stopping the drives in their tracks. It's in fairness to the defense, like you said, when the offense is just like auto 3 and out, and now you're back on the field, shorthanded, by the way, because there's a bunch of key injuries. The offensive line decimated with injuries. When you have a quarterback who's never played in the NFL before, and now a center who's never played in the NFL before, and you're wondering, well, how does some of these protection and communication issues happen? Well, that's part of it. Agreed on McCarthy. He was largely terrible tonight. But I am the resident Kevin O'Connell apologist on this show. We all love Kevin O'Connell on this show. But you guys, especially Judd, tends to chide me when maybe it's time to criticize Kevin O'Connell, and I'm the one that makes excuses or comes up with reasons. I thought tonight was a brutal game for Kevin O'Connell. Starting with no touches. I don't think any snaps for Jordan Mason in the first 2 series. He is very clearly, eye test, the numbers, the broken tackle rates going back to San Francisco last year, your best running back. And I'm not saying that you just like put him out there for 100% of the snaps. It should be a mix and match. But that dude set the tone for your comeback in so many ways against the Bears last week. And to come out and just shelf him for the first like half hour of the game was wild to me. That made no sense. So some of the McCarthy stuff, yeah, some of it's like he's got to hit on the 3rd and 1 wide open Jalen Naylor. But there were 3 plays tonight, and they cashed in on 2 of them. Credit to McCarthy, where Kevin O'Connell treated JJ like an experienced veteran. Let's go back to the 3rd and 18 in the first half. He lets JJ McCarthy uncork a pass like I think it was a 7-step drop. Protection holds up. And was it Naylor? I can't remember who caught the pass, but he hit a strike on a 3rd and 18, which was a great play, but it was like, whoa, lot of trust in your first-year starting quarterback there. 10 seconds left in the half, and he's dropping back, trusting the protection, and they hit that 50-yard strike to Jefferson. Great play, but again, it was like, okay, you trust him like the Bills trust Josh Allen, or like Andy Reid is trusting Patrick Mahomes. And where it bit him was the 3rd and 1 call, and he overthrows Jalen Naylor, and you have to hit that pass. Like, if you are an NFL quarterback, you have to hit that pass. That's probably a touchdown if you hit it. Also, knowing where your quarterback is sort of at mentality-wise, second game in the NFL, he's really struggling to see the field, especially against those exotic looks the Falcons were throwing out. Why are you putting a 3rd and 1 on him in that spot? It doesn't make sense to me. And then they punt on 4th and 1 with 9.5 minutes to go. It's 15-6. You haven't stopped Bijan Robinson all night long, and you're punting? Kevin O'Connell literally punted the game away and waved the white flag with 9.5 minutes left. And they were probably still going to lose. But that was as much as of a white flag as we have seen him wave in 3+ years now as the Vikings head coach. So, by the way, I was keeping track on the third or 4th down and short, so like 3 yards or fewer. I counted 9 of those scenarios. 5 called runs, 3 were successful. 4 called passes, 0 were successful. And again, you got to hit on a couple of those. But I was like, I couldn't get over the decision to punt on 4th and 1 and just give the game to Atlanta. Here you go. Here's your chance to just hand the ball off to one of the best running backs in the league and bleed the clock down, and that's exactly what they did. Dex, what's your biggest takeaway tonight?
Oh, it was ugly. It was just an ugly performance. The defense, I guess to a degree, like held its own to a point where they kept the offense in the game, but every time either they held them to 3 or they did get the stop and forced a punt, you needed a lengthy drive by the offense, and they just continued to go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And look, Justin School is trying his absolute best, and it ain't even coming close to cutting it. You lose your starting center. There's a lot of things that are honestly working against the Vikings to have success tonight. Like that, there was a lot of outside elements, even on the defensive side, being out Van Ginkel, who's a game changer, Blake Cashman, who can disrupt things. So there were a lot of things, even though the Vikings came in, I think, tonight closer, just like we did with the Purple Picks, like 3.5-point favorites at home in their home opener. But there was a lot of external things working against the Vikings. But that was as about of an ugly performance as I can really remember with Kevin O'Connell. And I'm trying to do my grab bag of which hot take I want to fire off for tomorrow on Monday's Hottest Takes, because there's a few different avenues I think all of us probably can go down. But just ugly. I did not expect the offense through now 8 quarters to look this ugly.
It's almost like he's not compensating for what's happening, which is very weird. It's very unlike him, but it's almost like he's like, no, this is what I do. It's the same thing that we, quite frankly, 15 years ago now or so, ripped Brad Childress for, which is you cannot run your offense if the people that you have cannot run your offense. You can't be stubborn here. And O'Connell, interestingly enough, after the Bears game, said, I have to be better at calling runs. Like he acknowledged that off the Bears game, because Jordan Mason in the second half took off. And it's like, okay, cool. Jordan Mason's going to start this game. You're going to run the ball more. And he didn't. So I don't know what took place tonight, but I can tell you it needs to be fixed. And the reality is, Justin School got hurt. Rouse came in to replace him.
Insta holding, by the way.
Yes.
Which is, when you're down to your third left tackle, like, it's going to happen.
Michael Juergens, who knows if he has to start. Like, they've got some real problems with now, a full week to prepare for the Bengals, who might be minus Joe Burrow next week. But the point is, if you come out here and play like this offensively again, guess what? Bengals are going to beat you. So this needs to get cleaned up, and it needs to start with O'Connell and then trickle down, obviously, to McCarthy. But, Justin Jefferson also can't just become a non-factor, but then he got involved some. I jotted this down right before his right before the 50-yard catch. He had like 1 reception for 9 yards in the entire half, and at the end of the half, he catches 1. So yeah, there's just ugly is a good word, but it's also concerning because this is the first time I've seen O'Connell sort of not adjust at all, and I don't know what he's doing right now.
Yeah, there's and also like the injuries have stacked to the point where this team is wildly different talent-wise, and so you do have to bake that into the equation. Going into the game without your left tackle, Addison's been on the suspension list. You knew that Cashman and Van Ginkel were going to be out. You knew that Harrison Smith was going to be out. Like all of that stacked going into the game. Tried to warn you guys that this was a trap game, trappy vibes here. And it turned out to, and the Falcons also, like the Falcons, Michael Penix can play, man. Like
the Vikings trapped themselves, though.
Yeah, I agree with Jed.
Like the Vikings just continued to, they didn't do anything. They didn't adjust. They did nothing. This crowd was phenomenal, right? Like these people were jacked. They introduced Thielen. They introduced Jefferson and McCarthy, and this crowd was jacked. And like at the end, they finally started to boo some. But like this was not your ordinary sort of cynical Vikings crowd. There's just a lot of questions. I don't have answers. There's just a ton of questions.
It's also you're going to have to get more creative than Kevin was tonight when you're down Christian Darasaw. Like they've known that Christian Darasaw isn't going. It's not like I don't think anyways, unless somebody reports otherwise, that he shows up to the stadium and then an hour before the game, well, I'm sorry guys, I thought I was going to be able to go, and we've been planning all week. I think they planned for him to be out the first couple weeks, and they've just been kind of playing it close to the vest. That's a huge difference from one of the 3 or 4 best left tackles in the league to having basically random guys that are replacement level players at this point. So, all right, before we get to a barrage of likely upset Vikings fans here, a shout out to North American Banking Company for helping to power Vikings Vent Line here tonight and all season long and keep this a 365-day-a-year show. Over 8,000 of you are hanging out right now on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Click that like button and the subscribe button and stop into one of the 6 North American Banking Company locations in the Twin Cities. If you're looking for a better banking experience, whether it's for checking and savings or something bigger, a big project or buying a home, nabankcode.com/Mackey to learn more. That's nabankcode.com/Mackey, member FDIC, equal housing lender. And MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Judd, is carrying us tonight as well.
Absolutely. And as always, we obviously appreciate that. And by the way, if you're thinking about going ductless, call MSP because they're a Mitsubishi Elite Diamond contractor for ductless, and they are fantastic at what they do. If you have an older home with no ductwork, guess what? That's no problem because MSP specializes in smart and efficient ductless installs. These systems aren't cheap, and so you want it done right. MSP is going to help you make the best decision for your home and your budget, quiet, efficient, and just comfort where it's needed. MSP has been serving the Twin Cities for more than 100 years. Local, trusted, committed to your comfort. 651-615-4292. Call MSP.com. Call MSP.com. Sports Dad has used them, and they are fantastic.
Yeah. These Justin Jefferson souvenir Pepsi cups available inside US Bank Stadium, by the way. There's a QR code on them, and if you scan that, you can enter to win Victor's Ride, a Polaris 1000 ATV, which they've been giving away a Polaris ATV the last couple of years. It's a really cool deal. They'll bring it right to your house. There's been current Vikings that show up to deliver it too. You'll find those cups right here, these bad boys, inside US Bank Stadium, soon inside Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh locations, and then another location, which we will talk about soon too. So grab your Pepsi Justin Jefferson souvenir cups. All right, Dex, who's first out of the gate here on Vikings Vent Line?
All right, let's see. Chancey, we didn't hear from you last week. Are you there? I don't know if Chancey's there. We got you, Chancey. He looks like he's ready to rock with the great Mohawk. So let's go to Trey next year. Hey Trey, what's up, man? You're on Vent Line.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah,
we can.
We got you, Trey.
Dude, he's a bust. It's over. It's a wrap. Am I doing this right?
Is your tongue pressed in your cheek or not? You have to tell us.
Do the Kirk Cousins.
Dude, legendary Kirk performance. Full chin-strapped helmet for 3 hours tonight on the sidelines.
I saw that on Twitter, Phil, and I started cracking up when I saw you post that because I'm like, that's classic Kirk. JJ was terrible tonight, but I mostly agree with you, Phil, that this was the worst game I've ever seen KOC coach. He didn't help JJ at all. JJ is very clearly rattled, getting hit all game. He's dropping passes or dropping the snap, fumbling the ball, like very clearly like looking like a rookie. And I mean, Josh Allen looked this way when he was a rookie. Jared Goff, like Jaden Daniels had his moments last year looking like this, and Jordan Mason barely got any touches. Yeah, KOC was terrible tonight. To kick off a hot take for you guys though, it might be time for TJ to go. It might be time for Hawk to go. He dropped 2 big ones. One almost turned into a pick. And I think that was just when I saw that, I texted my brother and was like, it might be time for TJ to go. He's supposed to be the security blanket, and he's not getting open. He's getting locked up by a rookie, Billy Bowman, who had a hell of a game. But JJ was not good, needs to improve. I think Vikings fans train Kilo. He's a rookie, essentially. But KOC needs to help him out. Also, it was Adam Thielen on that 3rd and 18 who caught the ball. Bad game, bounce back, hopefully without Burrow because he has a broken toe. It'll be a good bounce back game for everyone, but defense played lights out outside of Bijan, and hope to hear you guys kind of get after KOC, Phil. That's mostly for you. So thanks for letting me on. We'll keep watching. Thanks, guys.
All right,
Thanks,
Trey. Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Let's keep rocking here on Vikings Vent Line, Dex.
All right, let's go to Drew next. Drew, what's up, man? You're on Vent Line.
Yes, sir. Hey guys, thanks for having me on. One of my biggest takes is the offense was just inexcusably bad. I don't care about the injuries. I don't care about is JJ's first season starting. That was putrid. I mean, we can't convert on 2nd and shorts, 3rd and shorts. You know, we can blame play calling if we want, but I blame more. I think just as much of the blame is on the players executing, the O-line not blocking, whatever whatever it is, McCarthy holding the ball, taking all these sacks, not getting rid of it. Just inexcusably bad play on offense. I think Hawkinson, like Trey was talking about, I feel like he just doesn't have like that edge, like that someone like McCarthy has, that's just a fighter and a dog. Like I don't really see that in Hawkinson this season, whether it's in interviews or just on the field. He just seems kind of lackadaisical. The other thing on offense, I think we all see it even from training camp. Jordan Mason needs to be the starting running back. Aaron Jones could be a great third down running back. It's plain as day, it appears to me at least. Jordan Mason is a run downhill type of guy that can pick up more yards and more yards after contact. Aaron Jones has a different skill set. I don't think he needs to be getting majority of the snaps and carries like he has been the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, thanks for jumping on. So Aaron, the other thing, it's like Aaron Jones, he's 31, so he's already like a year or two past the red line for most running backs, and 5 carries into the second game, and now hamstring, and I don't know. We'll see if he misses a game or not, but it's just it should not really be a timeshare. You've got a guy who's a handful of years younger that breaks tackles, so make the move non-injury related as soon as possible.
Targeted once, no catches too. Like that's his strength. You know what? I don't think
he dropped the screen pass. Remember that?
But that was it.
I mean, it was all set up for a 15-yard gain, and he dropped it.
So. But I do think that we can spread the blame around thoroughly here. Like I don't think that there's not one bad guy here. Like O'Connell. The thing with O'Connell, to what the last person said, was O'Connell didn't help the situation. Like, that's his job. And plus, his team was not really prepared well. I mean, the penalties, there's a lot of dumb things, too. So,
yeah. Who's next up? Dex on the Purple Daily YouTube channel here.
All right, let's try them again. Chancey and Fargo, you got us now?
There's our guy.
I think so. You guys got me?
Yeah, we got you, dude. Look at your hair right now. This is glorious.
Yeah, I'm going with a different look this year. So, you guys were talking about your hottest takes. My hottest take is this was a game that broke a lot of narratives that have kind of been – I listen to you guys a lot, so I'm actually going to say they've been Purple Daily narratives a lot. And I'll just lay them out for you guys. One, I mean, we were talking about, does JJ McCarthy have that it factor? He looked like he had the scared factor tonight. I mean, 8 quarters. One was an A-plus quarter. And 7 that are D's or F's or C minuses. I don't know where you want to grade it, but that's what it's been. That's the honest truth. 2, Kevin O'Connell is supposed to be this offensive great coach, offensive mastermind, right? Quarterback rehab school. You guys love to use that as one of your narratives. What was he doing with McCarthy for the last year? The offense looks putrid. Since let's go like with the Twins when you go back over a season. The last 4 Vikings games I've watched are the Lions, the Rams in the playoffs, the Bears game, and this one. They've been ugly, 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 ugly. And that Bears win isn't looking very impressive after the Lions kicked 9 different kinds of dog crap out of them today. So I'm not going to bank on one quarter against the Bears of saying, yeah, that was awesome, and we've got our quarterback of the future. Am I writing off McCarthy? No, but this has not been a promising start. If anybody's telling you that this has been a good start to his career or what we wanted to see, that's crazy talk. That's crazy. There's nothing there. Then I said our D-line depth is supposed to be improved. We've talked about that. We got 2 new D tackles. Atlanta ran all over them all game long, up and down. And I know Robinson's a good running back, but they were 6 yards a carry all game. I mean, isn't that what the D tackles are supposed to do, is clog that up and get some penetration? It's been just very, very frustrating. The KOC part, we knew the left tackle was going to be out, to your point. So you're telling me that the center gets hurt halfway through the game, and that's enough to take the offense to this level of putrid play? We have weapons all the time. How many points did the Bengals score today? They lost Joe Burrow. I mean, this is silly. There can't be excuses. It's just pathetically ugly. I feel for NBC. Can you imagine they go from last week's Sunday night football game to this crap? Holy smokes. Who could watch this garbage? I mean, the only reason I didn't turn it up is Vikings fan. What are the ratings across the country outside of Atlanta and Minneapolis in that fourth quarter? Oh my gosh, that was an eye bleeder. That was terrible. And so I think that we got to take the shine off, the gloves off a little bit with KOC is my biggest takeaway from this. It's like I said, it's 4 games in a row where we get the ball on the 1 or 2 yard line, 1st and goal, and it's pass, try and fade routes out of the end zone, bootlegs. I know it's new school football. Is it impossible just to run it between the guards 3 times and pound the damn thing in?
Yeah,
we were told we couldn't do it before because the O-line. We replaced the O-line, and we got a bigger bruising back, and we still don't do it. I'm getting myself worked up. This is so silly. KOC is not that great of an offensive play caller. I'm just going to say it. When's the last time we hit a slant route? Do we have them in the playbook? I'm nervous about McCarthy's arm strength. These out routes, he had a pick 6, a pick today, another one that could have been. His arm looks weak on these deep out routes. He does not look like he has the arm strength to get it out there consistently. I don't trust him on those, so he's got to be across the middle of the field. I think that's a real concern going forward, quite honestly, for the eye test. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, there can't be this many excuses for KOC anymore on his offensive play calling and philosophy. It's getting old.
Yeah, Chancey, dude, thanks for coming in. Just the whole avatar there for Chancey with the mohawk to the handlebar. He's giving Jared Allen a real
brand new look for Chancey. Never seen him like that.
Judd, you go ahead and respond to some of those points.
Well, I think his points off tonight's game are perfect. They're exactly right. Now, again, I would like to see them emphasize the run more. I would like to see them emphasize the run from the start of the game with Jordan Mason. Do they miss Darasaw? Absolutely. If Ryan Kelly's out, but Kelly played a good portion of this game and they did not look good. So it's not like Kelly was playing and they were doing great and then Juergens came in and they went in the tank. That didn't happen. So yeah, I think well, first of all, if I'm going to say that KOC is not good at calling plays, I need more than 8 quarters. But what has transpired so far in these first 2 games with McCarthy as his quarterback does concern me. And we all agreed months ago that when they improved, or they thought they improved the offensive line and got Jordan Mason in the trade with the Niners in March, that the run game, and KO said this at the time, the run game needs to become more of a part of their offense consistently. And the deep shot for Naylor that missed and was badly overthrown is not excusable. But I will say this, when you look at the whole thing and the game, there were some opportunities on 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 3 to run, and they decided to pass. So, yeah, what Chancey said is correct. I don't know that I would broad brush KO as a bad play caller immediately, but and you said this off top, Phil, he had a bad game. He had a very bad game, and he didn't seem to be able to stop the bleeding. I think that's fair to say.
I think what's tough, I think, after a game like this is it feels really good to paint in black and white brushes, right? To say that Kevin is a bad play caller, McCarthy is a bust, whatever like your hot black and white take is, you really want to unleash those in the first hour after a terrible game like that because it feels good, right? It's like it's like a rush or something to the bloodstream. But the reality is there's a ton of nuance in the why the Vikings offense has been mostly terrible for the first couple games. And if you go back to the entire offseason conversation, the entire premise of starting a first-year quarterback with a ready-made 14-win team that actually added pieces was that he would get to use those pieces. And, hey, listen, so you're going to sit in this car and you don't really know what all the buttons do yet. You don't even know, you can't even fully reach the pedal, but that's okay because there's going to be a brick on the pedal. It's Christian Darasaw. And there's going to be a cruise control setting over here that you can just hit this button. It's called Jordan Addison. And so he's playing his first 2 NFL games and he's doing it without one of the best left tackles in the NFL and without one of the best number 2 wide receivers in the league. And the Vikings kind of knew from afar that those guys were going to be out for the first couple games, and that's where the criticism does fall on Kevin O'Connell. All right, you have to operate differently than you would if those guys were in. But you can't make a judgment on JJ McCarthy probably for 2 or 3 seasons, but certainly not after the first 2 games with a ton of injuries that wipe out the entire reason why people felt comfortable internally and externally with him jumping into this car in the first place?
I think it's fair to say that you can make a judgment that what they attempted to do tonight did not work, and they need to make some changes. Hence why when KO said after the Bears game, I need to run the ball more, I'm like, yes, you do. That's awesome that you said that. And then we didn't really see it. So what you need right now, too, is you need to make the immediate fixes that you can make. It doesn't mean the offense is going to be great, but it does mean that when you look at it, and look, you know what? I mean, they talked about this on the telecast all night. Penix delivers the ball incredibly quickly. It sure feels like JJ at times hesitates, and he needs to get the ball out. This is not college. He also, in my opinion, and like tonight, he didn't do it, and it frustrated me at times. He also, if he was going to run tonight, he was thinking about it. It's like, dude, if you're going to take off, it's fine. It's year one. Take off. Like, you don't need to, and I'm not saying take off and get hit. Try to get out of bounds, of course. But it was like he was thinking, I got to pass. I should pass. It's like, no, this is your first year. Like in 3 years, if you're taking off, we got problems. Or
well,
2
we
years,
don't know what Kevin's telling him though. It's very possible that the staff is telling him.
But that's what I'm saying.
Use your legs sparingly.
That's what I'm saying. Simple. But my point is, he needs to be told if that's what they're saying, and that's very possible. You're probably right. They need to simplify that to, okay, dude, if you're going to run, just run, but don't get out there and sort of like hesitate and then start to run, because this is the National Football League. Guys are going to track you down in instances. Like, these guys are that good. So there just feels like there's a lot of indecision, and I don't know if this is paralysis by analysis or what, but that's the type of thing. If he wants to run, just say, dude, that's fine. Run it. If you can get 5, 8, 10 yards, get those yards.
Man, still 8,000 of you hanging out here for this therapy session that Vikings Vent Line does turn into when they lose games like this. Click that like button, that subscribe button. If you're listening on demand on Apple or Spotify, thank you. A 5-star rating and a positive review goes a long way to help us keep growing what we think is the best NFL fan base community in the country here. Purple Daily, just an awesome group of fans and listeners. Dex, who's next on Vikings Vent Line?
All right, let's go to Noah. Noah's like in his purple dark cave over there. Noah, how you doing?
What's up, Noah?
Good. How are you guys?
Hey, man. Well, we're a little pissed off at what we saw for 3 hours tonight.
Rightfully so. I'm a little extra pissed because me and my entire family, we were present for the game at US Bank. So I'm sure you guys mentioned it earlier, but the energy was there. At least the first 3 full quarters. And like my wife and I were at the Houston Texans game last year, and it was kind of the same instance where there was like strong energy, and the team kept feeding off of it, and we blew them out of the water. And it just felt like flats, you guys have been critical of KOC so far, and rightfully so, because I was talking with my dad in the second quarter. It felt like such a vanilla preseason style offense. It was run, pass, run, pass, and an incompletion on third down. It's like, I think the defense played great given the circumstances because it was just 3 and out after 3 and out. And I don't know. I think the crowd did a great job trying to keep them in it as long as we could, but fourth quarter rolled around and everyone was just out of it. So
yeah, it's dude, Noah, thanks for coming on from your darkness retreat, which is maybe very therapeutic. Yeah, fans were based on what happened in that fourth quarter, and then the whole week you're playing at home. It felt like they were ready to just unleash at any sign of positive momentum there throughout the game. And man, there was time, because at the beginning of the game when the Vikings offense took the field, Brian O'Neill and JJ McCarthy were doing the quiet down, like, hey, the energy needs to come down so we can hear each other communicate. That was not a problem in like the third and fourth quarter. I think fans had just had the enthusiasm beaten out of them at that point.
It was boring. That it was disheartening and boring. Like, that might be, the Vikings might have played the 2 most boring games in the National Football League this season. I mean, today was incredible again. The afternoon games were great. I mean, you had these wild games, but yeah, I think fans were upset, but they didn't really start to boo too much. It almost was more like they got lulled to sleep, and I got to be honest, I don't blame them.
Yeah. All right, who's next on Vikings Vent Line?
All right, let's go to Greg next year. Hey, Greg, what's up, man? You're on Vent Line.
Hey, boys, what's happening?
What's
Good
going
to
on,
see
Greg?
you. Good to see you. Hey, I'm going to do a little silver lining action for y'all, folks. Check it. Donovan Jackson's a friggin' stud. That dude just mauls people all day long. I don't care if the crowd's into it, crowd's out of it. That dude handles business. And I like that in my offensive line. I'll tell you that right now. Second point, the boys on the back end on that defense, they did their work, man. They were just gassed. I mean, you can't get 15 3-and-outs and expect them boys to still be 100% at that point. It's just the nature of the beast at that point. The attrition set in, and it sucks that we lost Kelly right out the gate there. I know halfway through, and then no school, and he was tough to look at to start with. But that bobbled little, what was that, a 3rd and 1, or when we went for it on 4th and 1 or whatever the heck, and they bobbled the football there on the little handoff between him and JJ with Kelly. That was kind of a nosebleeder right there for me. I was expecting the boys to come out and handle their business. I've been super, super hyped this whole offseason, guys. I mean, just like you three fellas, it's just the Kool-Aid is through the roof. But, yeah, that cup's a little empty right now, and I don't know if I care for it at this point. So hopefully the boys can put it together, figure their act together, and come back next week and put the works to somebody. With Burrow being out, that means we got kind of a shot. We got kind of a shot at that game. If they can clear, I can't really dog down on KOC too hard as much as I want to, because boy, oh boy, his offense didn't do too much to help him make plays that could happen. I mean, they got oversailed passes, underthrown passes. The one thing I do agree with you on, Phil, and this is big time, I think Mason just needs to be our bell cow. Let's just put Aaron on the shelf regardless. I mean, it's his time to shine. I mean, that boy puts in work, and you can just see him put his shoulders to somebody, and that's the end of that story. It's game on and yards to come. That's just how he does. I like that acquisition for a 5th. Oh, get out of here! That was the best thing we did all season, as far as I'm concerned. Hargrave, Allen, them boys they're tough up front, but they're big boys. Big boys don't last. Especially when the offense isn't giving them a little bit of a time on the sideline to get their breath back. I feel like I was at the end of the game there. I felt like I was watching Linville Joseph, with the mask on at the end of the 4th quarter, just dying out there after every play. So, yeah, boys, love your show, love the takes, love everything about it. Dex, thanks for putting me on, man. I'm going to be doing this again. Good to see you, fellas. Have a great night. Okay. Love it, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Greg, bringing the energy, bringing the silver linings. People do not want to hear silver linings after games like that, by the way.
Yeah,
people are attacking me. I didn't even give you a silver lining. I was giving you reasons for why things are happening. But and poor Greg, me, just getting slandered by people in the comments.
This is why we give them 24 hour, or more like sometimes 12, because it will be literally in 11, 10 hours we do hottest takes. But this is where waiting a day and day and sleeping on it, the silver lining becomes just a little bit more tolerable to hear. But in the immediate aftermath, it's always rough to get it in.
The final gun, gentlemen, was the silver lining tonight. The final, when the game came to an end. That was the best moment of the entire night.
I would love, and I hate to tell beat writers how to do their jobs, and they have already probably talked to Kevin O'Connell, but I would love a strategic and logical explanation from the head coach, who I think is an excellent head coach, largely, as to why punting on 4th and 1 from like your own it wasn't 50-yard line, but it was like your 32, 35-yard line. I don't care if it's your 10-yard line. You're down by 9 points with 9.5 minutes left. And that running game on the other side, which they are about to lean on to end the game, has gashed you all night long. I need a logical, strategic reason for why you punt in that spot, because it's flawed. I follow these like 4th down punting bots. I don't know if you guys follow these. The surrender index and stuff. Great. It was like 95th percentile surrender index in their matrix of math that they use. So I think it was one of the rare instances where he got emotional. He got pissed because his quarterback missed that throw. He dialed up the perfect man coverage beat around the outside. Yeah. And God forbid my second game ever starting quarterback, he's not dialed in like whatever the peak version of JJ McCarthy is, and you hope that it's a high peak. He's not close to that in his second game in the NFL. So would love to hear that from Kevin O'Connell. Who's next on Vikings Vent Line?
Yeah, let's go to Tyler next year. What's up, Tyler? You're on Vent Line.
Boys, what's going on, man? How we doing?
What's going on, dude?
Well, I know how you guys are doing.
How are
Same
you
with me,
doing?
okay?
That's the question.
Yeah, I had plenty of time here on Vent Line to kind of get some thoughts down, and I'll rapid fire through them. First off, I'm not upset. Okay, let's start there. Set a baseline. Not upset. However, being a new father to a 3-month-old son, all the time leading up to it, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to watch Vikings games with my son. Slept through both of them. And last week I was like, oh, I can't believe you slept through this. And now I'm like, good, man. Just sleep. Just sleep. You don't need this in your life quite yet. So, the defense played their bleep off tonight. Hats off to them. They did everything in their power to keep our boys in it. Offense didn't do their part. We saw tonight that depth's a huge problem. School's a problem. Juergens is a problem. Donovan Jackson, yeah, stud, stable, absolute stud, but no Van Ginkel, no Cashman tonight was a huge problem. KOC probably called about as bad of a game as I've seen in his entire tenure. First and goal at the 1-yard line, and you don't run it with Jordan Mason. We've talked about it. You guys have talked about it. Jordan Mason's got to be the bell cow of this team, and how you don't just go with the slam dunk dive play at the 1 to get on the board, get the building energized that it had been in the first half. I just don't get it. Punting on 4th down and short with 9 minutes to go. I mean, Mackie just talked about it, like absolute, wave the white flag play with 9 minutes left, and I'm sure Judd, the fans were filing out at that point, like we'd given up. The interior offensive and defensive line in 2 weeks now has been non-existent. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of Kelly when he's out there, or Fries on the offensive side, and then Hargrave and Allen seem to be flashes in the pan at times. But I mean, in the first half, especially with Bijan just absolutely gashing us on the defensive side, where's the interior push? We spent all this money on the cap. I'm not seeing it. And hopefully that changes. My last point before I leave here, guys, is JJ McCarthy, just stay the course. It's the National Football League. Everyone's going to talk about how big of a, record that you have as a starter in terms of wins. It's not that easy in the National Football League to win, and how impressive last Monday night was on a 4th quarter comeback. It's not going to be that way every single week. And honestly, it's something that I kind of feared going into this game. I need more composure. I need more confidence. I need a healthy team to reach the field at some point this year. So we need Darasaw to come back, and we need some other key pieces, especially on the defensive side, to come back and maybe make some noise. And then really, you just need to rely on better coaching. Hopefully KOC takes a look in the mirror and makes some changes for Cincinnati coming in next week. I know that they're banged up. But if it's one thing that I know, because somebody texted me at night and said, hey, at least you got Cincinnati next week. Joe Burrow's hurt. I actually watched the Vikings lose to the Chiefs all those years ago against Matt Moore.
And by the way, Tyler, dude, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you. I think Jake Browning beat them like 2 years ago, didn't he?
Yep. Yeah, in Cincinnati.
And then he popped off to the media about he was on the sidelines like popping off.
Like they
never should have cut me.
Yeah, never should have cut me, something like that, yeah.
So it has happened before.
Well, yeah. And if the offense is going to continue to play like this, I don't care who you play. You can play Joe Burrow, Jake Browning, Joe Namath, bring him back. Like, you're not going to. And I will say this, the interior of the offensive line was in part brought in because of the run game. Like, it doesn't feel like they have a real interest in establishing it. And that's the whole point. Like, Jordan Mason and that interior line, now with Kelly Hurt, it's obviously setback, but the whole purpose was to establish the run game. Like, the run game can't be a fleeting thing. It can't be like, well, now we're going to incorporate it some, and then we're going to go back to passing a lot. Like, you need to have a smash mouth mentality, which is what I think they wanted. I thought they wanted. And like tonight, the distribution that I've got is 21 passes, 19 rushing attempts.
Well,
so,
I I feel like I'm turning into like an anti-Aaron Jones guy here just overnight. He was awesome for this team last year. Great leader from everything we hear behind the scenes. He caught the wheel route touchdown in week 1 that helped seal that victory against the Bears. So like there's still a place on this team for Aaron Jones. But remember, the Packers moved on from Aaron Jones when he was still kind of in his prime years 2 years ago because they weren't getting enough juice in their running game. And he wasn't reliably healthy over the course of a 4 and 5 month season. And I don't know, maybe someone would prove this wrong digging deeper into the numbers, but it kind of felt like anecdotally the Packers moved on from Aaron Jones for a bigger, more battering ram running back, more of a bell cow, short yardage, broken tackle guy in Jacobs. Their running game got better. So it kind of feels like the Vikings, it almost feels like they're trying to do a service to Aaron Jones as the leader, the veteran, the guy that everyone likes, that, hey, listen, you're still the starter. We didn't pull a switcheroo when we brought you back on that contract. Even though they probably had that trade lined up when they brought Aaron Jones in. And we just, we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings here, but dude, if you want to run the ball down a team's throat, is it happening with Aaron Jones or is it happening with Jordan Mason?
What's weird about this, though, is it's a first guess. Like we said this after the Bears game, too. It's like and I don't think Aaron Jones, if Aaron Jones was confined to sort of this is your role, at his age, I don't think he's going to rebel. Like, he seems to me, when Mason was acquired, unless he was lying, Aaron Jones was happy. He's like, yeah, this will help me. So it is this very weird, like they're doing, I don't know. The Vikings have this sometimes, and I don't get it, where they feel like they are like beholden to certain guys. But that being said, it felt like that was being changed. So yeah, I mean, the Jordan Mason starting and getting the bulk of the carries is like the most obvious thing. Absolutely.
Kevin Seifert. I knew Kevin would ask about the punt.
Okay,
we do have an answer on why Kevin apparently, I'll tell you in a second what his answer was for why they waved the white flag on 4th and 1 with 9.5 minutes to go. After Judge shouts out Canopy Group here, 47 minutes into Vikings Vent Line.
I certainly will, because the Canopy Group, we're talking about an in-state-based independent insurance company that has your best interest in mind, much like a sports executive, a good one, right? Constantly on the lookout for the best talent available. The Canopy Group does the same for you when it comes to getting the best insurance coverage at the best price. What they do is they work with 16 groups of top-tier companies to make sure that you have the best insurance roster available for your auto, home, health, and business. And then at renewal, what they're going to do is they're going to make sure that continues. They won't just stay with the status quo. Give them a call, 1-800-967-3389, or check out their website, thecanopygroup.com. That's thecanopygroup.com, 1-800-967-3389.
Dex, we won't normally do this, but I know you've got Chancey's contact information. Can we make Chancey the hottest vent of the night, presented by Crybaby Craig's? Dex, you're muted, by the way.
Thank you. Chancey's going to go home with 1 bottle of Crybaby Craig's hot sauce, the typical one you see all over the place, but also 1 bottle of Crybaby Craig's hot honey sauce, 1 bottle of Crybaby Craig's cheesy pow pow powder. That's right. 1 Crybaby Craig's branded sweatshirt and 1 Crybaby Craig's branded coffee mug for that beautiful mohawk he has. Plus, you can also go to crybabycraigs.com too, or find them in your local grocery store. I put mine in my eggs in my breakfast and my Bloody Mary this morning. I love my Crybaby Craig's. You should do the same. Shout out to Chancey. Every week on Vent Line, we'll give away a prize pack from our friends at Crybaby Craig's.
Also, Black Stack. I'm gonna need a Black Stack after this is all said and done. If this is what the offense is gonna look like every single week, you can find Black Stack beer all over the state of Minnesota with new releases every single week. In fact, this week's draft pick at Black Stack, the new beer of the week, Sharper Image DIPA. Delicious new beers every single week at Black Stack. And you can find the beers, their flagship beers, inside US Bank Stadium during games. I recommend stopping into one of the coolest and largest tap rooms in the state of Minnesota. It's the Black Stack tap room is a former Spam can factory. We had an unplugged event there last year, and it was a great time. Great for big gatherings. They have a 190-inch big screen TV, to watch sports, or you can play one of their hundreds of board games at Blackstack. So Seifert is paraphrasing Kevin O'Connell. 4th and 1 from like just short of the Vikings' own 30-yard line, down 15-6, 9:47 left. If you punt, you're probably not getting the ball back unless you really think your defense is going to. The Falcons ran the ball 5.6 yards per carry on 39 carries in that game. And your defense is gassed. You weren't stopping them. You give the ball back, you aren't stopping them. And Seifert said via Twitter, Kevin O'Connell cited an earlier failed attempt at converting a 4th down for his decision to punt in that spot. I'll go back and listen for more context, read for more context. That is a terrible, terrible reason. Well, we didn't get it on the previous one, so I didn't feel good. Okay. The Vikings, by the way, they went for it, I think, the fewest amount of times on 4th down in 2024. So Kevin, as new agey as he can be in some ways, he is very old school when it comes to going for it on 4th down. And some of the best teams in the NFL the last few years, the Lions most notably, are hyper aggressive in those spots. So he tends to play not to lose on 4th and short more than most coaches in the NFL. It's one of his biggest flaws. And it's not the reason why they lost the game tonight, but it essentially was the last nail in their coffin tonight.
But the 4th down they didn't make it on was a muff. It was a botch snap where they tried to run JJ and he couldn't handle the snap. So that's not they weren't stopped. They were stopped because of the botch snap. And the other thing too, and at the time I said this is, why wouldn't you? I understand the premise of the quarterback sneak, and I think it's fine at times. But again, you got Jordan Mason. Give the ball to him. He's got momentum, and allow him to bully his way for 2 or 3 yards. So yeah, that I think, Phil, because I've seen this before, I think you nailed it with he was pissed off. He
pouted and
do you remember
sent the
when
punt team out there.
Do you remember years ago? I think it was 06 Childress' game against the Titans. Yeah. And they were backed up, and he's like, "Screw you guys!" And he had Kluey punt. It's like, why are you punting right now? Dude. And I always remember I said he's mad, he's not making a rational football decision. He is pissed off.
I remember that Childress punt after the Monday press conference, because he had a couple chances to answer it, and there were some other things going on too. I remember I pulled him aside after the press conference on Monday, and I said, "Hey, I would just love to follow up. What was behind your thinking?" And I didn't want to, necessarily. I was new to the beat. I didn't want to air him out at the podium. I said, "Why did you punt in that spot?" Because a punt, the game is over. If you punt, it's over.
Which he knew.
And he essentially said, "I felt like there was no chance for us to gain yardage," and he basically said, "I felt like the game is over." So
I had a fit.
Did Kevin do that? Maybe I'd have more respect for his answer if he flat out said, "Honestly, I thought it was a safety hazard for me to drop my quarterback one more time with that offensive line, and he's not seeing the field, so it's not our night, so we punted the game with 9.5 left."
And he's never going to say that, but that's what I buy. I'll tell you that right now.
All right, who's next up? Vikings Vent Line here, therapy session in full swing.
Let's go to Kyle next year. Hey, Kyle, what's up, man? You're on Vent Line.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How are y'all?
Hey, what's going on, Kyle?
So I wrote a couple thoughts down, but first thing I want to say is something. It's a quote from I guess you could call him a philosopher of sorts, but you'll probably be pretty familiar with it. But it's RELAX, right? It's JJ's second game. He's been out for over however many days and stuff like that. I think to me it looks like he tries to be perfect, and you can't do that. I don't mind, and with KOC's play calling and everything, I don't mind being aggressive, but there's a difference between being aggressive and being reckless. You know what I mean? And stuff. And so forcing a couple balls, okay, I think he's got the arm strength to get it there. I just think it's a mental thing for him. So that's what I get from everything that I've watched so far. The other thing that comes to mind is the quick game. Where's that at? Slants, screens. I know we tried to run a couple of screens, halfback screens, right? And it was dropped by, I think was it Jones that dropped that?
Yep.
Yeah, and stuff. And so you just got to be sharper than that. Maybe him at his old age. I mean, like I said, and like y'all said before, I think that Jordan Mason should probably be RB1. It looks he looks slow. It looks like time has caught up with him. And I like Aaron Jones. He's good, man, but I don't think he can't start. Last thing I want to say, my boy, he didn't have a good night. He looked a little timid as well, but also kick coverage looked really good. But Miles Price, man, that's my boy. Hey, I'm here in Lubbock. He's a Red Raider legend here. Man, like, come on, Miles, bro. You're better than that. I've seen you, bro. And like, you'll be all right, man. Just some of those, like, you don't need to force those, So you gotta set the team up with good field position. So
yeah, Kyle.
Yeah,
thanks.
I love the philosopher takes from Kyle, bringing some RELAX to the mix here. Judd's still at US Bank Stadium. And we got a full room here of Vikings fans and Purple Daily listeners. Let's keep going through this therapy session.
Let's go to Joe next year. Hey, Joe. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
We got you, Joe. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to channel a little bit of positive Phil here. It's JJ McCarthy's second game, right? And we had, 8, 9 starters out for the whole game? So I think we give the kid a break, right? Obviously, there was some questionable KOC calls. Running game can be a little bit better. I agree. Jordan Mason, I think he should be RB1, but obviously with Kelly out, Darasaw, all line isn't all the way there. But when they get healthy, we'll slam it down. Running game will get there. But I think we should stay positive and, see what happens. JJ's going to get there. He's still learning. He's still grinding. He'll learn from this, traumatic experience on Sunday night. But we'll see what happens. He'll learn. He'll get better. Skol Vikings. Let's get it.
Joe, bringing positive vibes. I'm sorry to say, Joe, that you're getting hammered in the comment section for being positive. This is what some good-natured positivity gets you after a game like that.
They don't want to hear it.
Nobody wants to hear positive Joe. Nobody wants to hear jovial Joe or positive Phil. They want blood. I'll say this: the Vikings brought a lot of this on themselves, and they get the full season to figure it out with a first-year quarterback. But even though most quarterbacks are bad in their first few games, like Bo Nix last year, it took him like a month to throw a touchdown pass. And then by the end of the year, it was like, fully dialed in. Sometimes you need a month or a year or 2 years even. It just depends on how quickly it clicks for you to figure out NFL defense and processing speeds. But the Vikings had a 14-win team last year and were really nonchalant about their backup quarterback situation up until Carson Wentz. So, they told everyone all offseason, hey, I know this sounds a little bit disconnected, but he's going to step into this offense and he's going to be a buzzsaw right away. Is kind of what it felt like. So if he's going to continue to really struggle, McCarthy, to know what he's looking at when he's lining up against these defenses, it reflects on the Vikings. So you can't be playing like this 5-6 weeks in. It has to click pretty quickly, or I think you're wasting a roster that's ready to make a run in the playoffs. That's been the dissonance throughout this entire offseason and the decision to go with the first-year quarterback.
Yeah,
it heightens the pressure.
And I think that's where it's fair to say that they need to do something quickly here to help McCarthy more. I understand there's guys out. That sucks. Jordan will be back after week 3. But, when you look at Justin Jefferson's overall production, Justin Jefferson needs the ball. I don't care how you get it into his hands. He needs the ball in his hands. He's the most dynamic player. He's one of the most dynamic players in the entire league. So that's where, I think some of this is fixable immediately. I really do. I don't think that you can just say, oh, boy, it's not going to work out. you do have a good enough roster. You've got enough star players that you have to look at. There are some fixes, I think, that can be implemented immediately. And by the way, if it has to be short passes to Justin Jefferson, so be it for now. Like, he needs the ball in his hands. It doesn't have to be 50 yards, doesn't have to be 20 yards. You need to find a way to get the playmakers that you do have the ball. And so far, in the case of Jefferson, for the most part, they've failed.
Let's keep rocking here. Vikings Vent Line therapy session.
Let's go to John next year. Hey, John, you're on Vent Line, man.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, John.
Hey, I wrote down a couple notes. Some of the most, with how our offense was going, I think some of the most concerning plays I saw were like the missed overthrow, and then when we got to the goal line and not pounding in with Mason and going back. I know that's in my family group chat. That was the one where people were the most upset after the fact. And having Christian Darasaw can't come back soon enough because the left side, it just always seems like there's pressure coming from that side. And injuries are starting to catch up with us. We were a healthy team last year. This year, injuries are building up over and over again. Always that kind of comes with the NFL. Thought the defense held up pretty well, even with all the injuries. I thought this Falcons coverage on special teams was really impressive because I don't think Miles Price got any yardage on basically any play. And it's a young quarterback, so try not to overreact. We still got to give him a couple games to figure things out. But like you guys said, since it's a 14-win team, the expectations go a little bit higher, kind of parallel to – it's not a one-for-one, but like when Mahomes came in for Alex Smith, the expectations were super high for him. Not saying JJ McCarthy is going to be Patrick Mahomes, but you're taking over a good team, so you're expected to do more. And, yeah, just hope we get healthy. Don't want to get Jake Browning another revenge game win. Last time that happened, I was at my brother, for some reason, decided to schedule his wedding that day. And unfortunately, I couldn't watch the game because I was up in front, so that didn't quite.
Yeah, you can't sneak a peek then. Yeah, that makes it tough.
My cousin did, apparently, in the back. People told me, they were like, is that your cousin? He was the guy watching the game in the back of the.
I had no problem with that.
Yeah, you're physically present for the wedding. All right, listen, that's like you're able to multitask. It's 2020.
Also, terrible timing. Like, you cannot put a wedding on an NFL Sunday. I'm sorry.
It was on Saturday.
If I remember right, it was
Saturday.
Saturday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that too then.
Bad timing. Yeah, just can't have no weddings any day.
Just don't get married, period.
Wednesday.
Yep, exactly. The last thing I'll say is Eric Wilson's signing was great, and let's get healthy, try to get the win next week at home, and then go overseas.
Yeah. So. John, thanks for coming on Vent Line. By the way, Pete brings up Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes kind of ruined it for all talented quarterbacks that join a really good team. Like, you get drafted in the first round, and not by a garbage team. You get drafted by a playoff team. He comes in and throws 50 touchdown passes and 5,000 yards in the, not the rookie season, but like in the first year as a starter. But that's never how it looks. Josh Allen came in, not nearly as good of a team, by the way. That was a Buffalo team that was trying to figure its way out.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen came in and was awful his first year. Like, barely playable, bad quarterback.
Except here.
No, but he even like the highlight from that game was
ran around,
leaping over guys. And
Anthony
stuff.
Barr, yeah, it was great.
It was using his legs, and even the second year they went to the playoffs, if I recall, and then it really starts to click when he was 24, year 3. Okay, now he becomes a big time thrower of the football. So that's what we're dealing with here. Is if you're really going to be patient with a talented quarterback, it might not click in week 3, 4, or season 1 or 2. And that's the weird spot that the franchise is in when you make the decision to take a 14-win team and hand it over to a guy who's never done this before.
On the Christian Darasaw note, though, here's the point of interest to me. So I don't know when he's coming back, but you've got Trey Hendrickson coming here next week. If he doesn't start, and Justin School and Kelly evidently both have concussions or are being observed for concussions. But if Christian Darasaw can walk by next week, I mean, I'm playing him, right?
I agree.
Like
Otherwise,
unless you're
why
afraid
not
that
put
you're
him on the. Why would you start the season with him?
Right. Right.
Not on the. You could have gone four game IR to start the year, or was that full?
No,
What's your
you could have
cap there?
done you could have done pup
Yeah.
in training camp. Like there's a lot of things, but the point is like Atlanta had a really nice pressure package on McCarthy tonight, but I don't think they've got like one guy who's like, oh, that's a 15 sack guy. No. Trey Hendrickson is going to come in here and wreck this stadium if you don't have a sufficient left tackle.
Yeah. And you can't just put a left tackle out there and help him for 3 hours, because now you're taking routes off the field, and it's a whole thing.
Exactly.
So, all right, who's next on Vikings Vent Line? Purple Daily YouTube channel here.
Yeah, let's go to Josh next year. What's up, Josh?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hey, Josh.
I just want to touch on some points I haven't heard tonight. O'Connell, 7-point swing. I didn't get him going for a 4th and 1 in the first quarter. That gave the short field. That was an automatic 3 points for the Falcons. So, and then when we was on the second yard line, he throws it on first down, and then on second down he doesn't call the timeout, and he takes the delay of game penalty, like he's trying to save and hoard these timeouts. It didn't really come down to using it, and that was a 4-point swing. Like you could have had two more cracks at the 2-yard line, and you didn't. So, and it was kind of like he does this like, oh, I want to hoard these timeouts. You always take the touchdown over a timeout. I don't know what logic that came from. A couple other points I just want to touch. Cashman's absence made Pace, his physical limitations, stand out even more. He's a small linebacker, and he has great instincts, but he can't shed blocks. And once he get latched, or the O-line gets latched onto him, it's over. I seen him on his butt so many times tonight. I seen him actually in the right spot and just can't make the play. Now, don't get me wrong, Bijan is a beast, and he's going to do that to a lot of guys. But I see that with Pace and with Cashman. And my last point is the O-line has been bad 2 weeks in a row. People like O'Neal, even though last week I seen a stat that say he didn't give up pressures, which I thought was wrong. I seen plenty pressures from O'Neal. And then like the night on the fumble, I don't know how you don't block the defensive end that's on your side and you go double team a guy, and that led to the fumble. I would just love to hear.
So yeah, I got you on that one. All right. So texting with the O-line committee guys on that one. Those, by the way, those protections are decided before the snap. So it's not like the ball is snapped and O'Neal decides, I'm not going to pick up this 250-pound edge rusher direct threat to my quarterback. I'm going to double team someone over here. So one of two things happened in that situation. It was a little bit like the Anthony Richardson preseason play that people torched him for that got him injured. Where, okay, so they are sending more players than your offensive line has numbers to pick up. So one of two things has to happen if you're a quarterback in that spot. You either have to understand that there's a free runner coming at you, which is fine if you throw quick and throw hot. So in that situation, you got to know where your hot route is. And I'm excited. We'll break that play down, I'm sure, with Booney on trenches in a couple days. Or before the ball is snapped, either you or your center needs to adjust the protection and slide it to the right if they've got an overload of numbers or if there's a direct threat that's not covered. And that's where you get your problem of starting quarterback playing his second ever NFL game and your backup center who's playing his first ever NFL game in terms of meaningful regular season snaps. Well, how did that free runner get loose? Because those guys don't know what they're looking at yet on every single play. That's what happened on that play. People like, oh, like Brian O'Neill. That wasn't Brian O'Neill just like getting beat by a guy or spacing out. That Brian O'Neill did his job, and somebody else was supposed to either adjust the protection for the whole offensive line, or JJ McCarthy needs to throw hot, get the ball out of his hand, and hit what I'm presumably there's probably a receiver open on a shorter route on a play like that. But we'll break the film down.
And that's where if Ryan Kelly is out, it's a huge problem. Like
100%.
Part of what he does is the protections, because a veteran quarterback can do the protections, but you want the center in this case. And look, if you're looking for people to blame and you're looking for bad offensive line play, just watch Justin School. Like that's your problem. Brian O'Neill is typically not your problem, but when you're trying to put, and they really swung and missed there because they swore up and down that Justin School was an improvement on Quessenberry, and obviously Cam Robinson walked because he was going to start elsewhere, and he's starting in Houston. But and I talked about this. I feel foolish now because I was drawn in by the Vikings. Attempt to fool me, which they did, that this was going to be an improvement. I don't think Quessenberry was. I mean, if he was this bad, okay, it's a wash then. But this certainly is not an upgrade.
Yeah, people don't want to hear the reasoning for what happened on that play.
It's a very logical breakdown. I don't have a problem.
More excuses for Brian O'Neill.
I mean,
would you feel more comfortable if we came on here and said Brian O'Neill is worthless and they should cut him tomorrow? Would that make you feel better, or do you want to hear the why behind?
I might cut Justin School tomorrow.
Well, Justin School might go on IR tomorrow if
yeah, it's true, and I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay. Concussions are not a funny thing, but
they've had a bajillion of them to start the season here too.
Yeah, but you know what? We talked about this. This was the one concern. They were really healthy in 2024.
They were.
And you often don't. You talk about like things that catch up to you, and like one-score games. You can't be in one-score games. Well, I think health is a very cyclical thing.
Health, getting out to early leads, a lot of things have flipped in the first two games, and they did get away with. They got the win in week 1, so we'll see what happens going forward. All right, back to Vent Line here on the Purple Daily YouTube channel.
Yeah, let's go to Brandon next year. Hey, Brandon, what's up, man?
Hey guys, from Seattle. First MVPs, defense, Levi Drake Rodriguez from close to my hometown in Commerce, Texas. He played great tonight. Don't know why we don't see him more. Offense would be Jordan Mason. Tonight, I think, was a failure of coaching. So not defense, not Brian Flores. Defense was out there on the field way too much tonight. Offense couldn't get anything going. Offensive line, I don't know why we don't have any depth on this team. Corner, I saw a lot of Josh Metellus out on the outside tonight at corner. That's a problem. I saw Nudie out there, and his pass was incomplete, which is great. Why don't they trust him more? It goes back to coaching, not having the team ready. And I think that, I don't think KLC is, I think he's a great coach. But I question, if Bill Belichick was a coach who's in college now, or Mike McCarthy, who's not coaching right now, where would this team be with, a second-year quarterback with JJ McCarthy? I know I didn't play last year, but so pretty much like a rookie. Where would this team be this time of year in the second game with a better coach?
Wow. Brandon, thanks for jumping on here.
Did I just hear that correctly?
Where would they be with Belichick? Or McCarthy?
Mike
McCarthy, that is.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy. No, I can say no on. Here's the thing.
I'll stand a little bit for Mike McCarthy. He
had
a
little
three
bit.
12-win seasons in Dallas, and then he gets a little boneheaded in some high leverage situations. But
yeah, look, Kevin O'Connell had a bad game. Kevin O'Connell, in my opinion, had a bad game in the playoff game. Kevin O'Connell in the Lions game to end the regular season had a quarterback who melted down. But I'm sorry, I'll criticize him, but I'm not gonna be well, I don't know about this. I'm let's just wait and see.
Do you want this version of Bill Belichick?
No, I have no interest
the development of JJ McCarthy.
Let's make this very clear. Nobody in the NFL wanted him. He wanted to work again.
Yeah.
And he assumed the funny thing is he assumed he had the Falcons job. You know what the Falcons said? Hard pass. Like they all clearly behind the scenes, they knew that Bill was unfortunately trending to where Bill is now. So no, I have no interest in Bill Belichick.
I think, and I don't know if Brandon's trying to say this. I think he might be insinuating of where would McCarthy be in his development right now? Because just to answer his question, I mean, the Vikings there's 3 outcomes, right? You're 2-0, you're 1-1, or you're 0-2. So if you're asking just from a team perspective, there isn't really much of a variance of the results. But if you're asking where would McCarthy be from being prepared and ready, and if that's what he's trying to insinuate, I would still take KOC. McCarthy second and Belichick a distant third. I want him nowhere near this kid.
And Kevin is objectively, all of my criticisms from tonight stand in the short term, in the micro. Macro, zooming back out, 3 years sample size, he is one of the, inarguably, at the worst, he's like one of the 12 best head coaches in the NFL right now. And there are some people like Bruce Arians goes on Pat McAfee. Bruce Arians, Super Bowl winning, highly respected, brilliant offensive
what does
mind.
He know?
Bruce Arians. Also a guy who rode Tom Brady's coattails a little bit there too. But he said Kevin's one of the 3 best head coaches in the NFL. So I think there's room for, I don't know if old Kevin had a great night tonight, period. And also there's not many other guys you'd want coaching this team with this quarterback. And one more thing, and then we'll get to some more vent liners here. I think it's like 5 or 6 fans have jumped on this show tonight and have just dismissed the defense as like they were out there too long, and the defense really gave it their all tonight. The defense came out tonight, and the first 3 plays out of the gate from a team that struggled to get its running game going last week, a desperate 0-1 team with one of the best 3 running backs in the league looking to get their running game going against the Vikings. They start the game with a 25-yard gash, a 17-yard gash, a 5-yard chunk, and boom, now they're like at the 15-yard line of the Vikings before the smoke has cleared from the intro with Jared Allen. So, like, the Vikings defense got walked back into the red zone to start the game and set a tone for the next 3 hours. That should not be lost. And yeah, they did hold the Falcons to field goals. But at the end of the day, maybe they were a little tired, and that's unfortunate, but the Vikings defense gave up 218 rushing yards at 5.5 yards per carry. That's really bad.
Yep.
That's one of the worst performances in Brian Flores' career here as defensive coordinator.
I agree it was bad, but here's the thing. They held the Falcons, well, partially because of the fans making so much damn noise, to field goals, and the offense still did nothing to help them. It's like, at least they held on, right? They 15 points. Okay, the Vikings could do nothing. I mean, this was an awful night. Like let's not, there's no reason to give out credit or roses here. This was a terrible game. This was a concerning performance. And the question now is not, are you going to replace O'Connell, or how would Bill Belichick do with this? The question is, how are you going to fix this? How are you going to fix this by next Sunday? Because you know what hasn't changed? The fact that the opening part of the schedule remains incredibly gettable, and it remains incredibly important. And if you struggle through 4 or 5 games, guess what? You're going to face a juggernaut. You're going to face a gauntlet in the schedule. So what I want to know is, how are you going to fix this? What are you going to do to fix it? And I know guys are hurt, but them's the way the cookie crumbles, right? So let's see that. What are you going to do to fix it?
If the Vikings were an HVAC system, who would they call, Declan?
Standard heating. Standard
Yeah,
heating
right.
and air conditioning. And Kevin O'Connell would join their smart club, which would give him discounts on repairs. It give him priority booking as well. Right now, we're getting second summer right in the middle of September, but it cools down again. Perfect time to make sure your HVAC systems are working. I had my guy Cameron come out to look at my air conditioner. He came out to look at my HVAC system too when I was doing the inspection of this house. He was gracious enough to help me out there too. Go to standardheating.com. Tell them that Purple Daily sent you. Don't let the HVAC go out in the worst possible time. Let the experts handle it. No need to DIY. Go contact the experts at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
If the Vikings were a car or a truck, I would direct them to Menards to fix up their sputtering system with a full lineup of FVP parts, including Lucas oil greases. Purple Daily is excited to partner with FVP Auto Parts and Menards this season. And those Lucas Oil greases I tell you about include red and tacky grease, heavy-duty grease, marine grease for your boats out there. And these greases stay in place, resist water, and fight wear and corrosion, keeping your equipment running longer and more reliably. So head to Menards. 15 different states, including Minnesota and all of the upper Midwest states, have Menards in them, and stock up on FVP and Lucas Oil because performance matters. SeatGeek also powering Vikings Vent Line here tonight, Dex.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, I had a listener tweet at me this afternoon and ask, "What's that ticket partner you guys using? I'm looking to get a last-second ticket into the Vikings game tonight." Our friends at SeatGeek can make that happen. So go to the App Store, go to the Google Play Store, download the SeatGeek app. 10% off any tickets with promo code PURPLE10. Whether it's a game for the Purple, an upcoming concert, we want to make that experience a little cooler for you. So 10% off any tickets when you use code PURPLE10 at checkout. Go download the SeatGeek app.
All right, let's go back to the Vent Lines here. The therapy session continues after a Vikings 22-6 loss at home to the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football. Dex.
All right, Connor. What's up, Connor? You're on Vikings Vent Line.
Hey, guys. First-time caller from South Dakota. Some of my takes just have to be JJ needs to get that ball out quicker. They talked about Michael Penix getting that ball out really quick, 2 seconds. Did a really good job at that. Then another thing, coming back from last year with Cashman, we need him out on the field. Last year we won majority of our games with him on the field. We need him out there. I know the injury and everything, but we need him out there. And then Redmond, what a game that he had. I really, really like seeing what he had to do. And yeah, that's just about it. But thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Connor. Don't be a stranger. Welcome to the show for the first time. Is anybody else in that press box? Are they still hacking away in there?
You know what? I think they're up in the where we watch the game from. I'm in the back here, and I think this is the first time. I think this is the first. It is totally empty back here. There is no one back here now. Ordinarily, there's some guys yucking it up.
Podcasts and radio people have given up.
No, they might be doing it in different places. I think that some go into the booths here, which I can't get into because we, of course, start the second the game comes to an end. But I've never seen it. The only person I see right now at the Coke machine or the Pepsi machine, our friend Mike Grimm. Mike Grimm, who just got done calling another great Minnesota football performance.
Has he slept?
What
time did they get in last
I heard
night
they landed at 7 to 8 o'clock this morning.
Well, hold on.
They
I'll
landed
find out.
early.
Hey,
this
Graham.
morning.
Have you slept?
Have you slept? Phil wants to know what how much sleep? Here.
I don't know if he's allowed. Oh no, I don't know if he's allowed.
Hello. Yeah, so the game got done. Jumped on the flight around 3 a.m. Got landed at about 7:15. Got home around 8:30. Slept. Got in bed around 9. Slept till 3, and here I am. So I actually had a hell of a day's sleep.
Wow.
But a rough,
you can't hear this.
Rough weekend for Minnesota football. Yeah. Oh, nice. Very good.
Mike Grimm.
Thanks,
There it is. The golden pipe.
You're a grinder, Grimmer.
Yeah, here we are.
Get some more rest.
I'm going to sleep.
Okay. Take care.
Grimmer.
Voice of
Don't
the
go to sleep
Golden
right there. No, go home.
Basketball. Let's keep going here on Vikings Vent Line.
All right. Hey, Chris. What's up, man? You are on Vikings Vent Line, my dude. Chris, are you awake?
Chris,
you're muted. Just
we
unmute
can't
yourself
hear you.
on the site. Here, I'll put you in timeout. We'll come right back to you.
Chris is just.
That was a well-deserved timeout for Chris.
It's okay, Chris. It's okay. Delay a game. 5-yard penalty. We'll try again here. Aaron, what's up, man? You're on Vikings Vent Line.
Hey, yeah. Thanks for having me on. First thoughts. You guys hear me okay, right?
Yeah, we got you. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. I totally agree with what was said earlier about just we need to relax. I didn't become a fan of the Vikings because they won all the time because of the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm a fan of the team because of who they represent, of the players and the characters that are all in the locker room. And it's going to take a minute. JJ McCarthy's 22 years old, and he just had a baby. He probably slept 3 hours last night. I mean, I'm willing to give the guy a break. That being said, I think I agree with everything you guys are saying. The defense looks really good, and the fact that they kept him out of the end zone until basically garbage time, I think is worth mentioning. Those first few gash plays were very bothersome for me, but the fact that they didn't keep letting that happen was positive, I thought. One thing that I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that I wasn't quite – I was kind of confused on that first fourth down attempt, the third down beforehand where JJ tries to run and he stretches out for that first down. I thought he got it. Did he not get there?
He was close, but also wouldn't, and maybe we're going to answer a question within a question, wouldn't replay assist have helped them if he indeed got the first down? Wouldn't replay assist and ball marking and wouldn't that would have been a thing? So that was my first thought too, dude, because I was like, why don't they just challenge the spot? I'm like, well, wait a minute, don't they have now the new implements and replay assist? So it was short. I think it was short.
Interesting, yeah, because I was looking at the knee, and it was only they showed the replay one time, so I wanted to get a second look at it. But I guess like you're saying, the replay kind of confirmed that. But it's going to take a minute. I think it was really interesting how people in the comments were bringing up Josh Allen. Took him a while to get going. And so I think if we're looking at year 2, year 3, and he's still having the same problems, then we can probably look at some other options. But we definitely, there's Kwesi and KOC definitely do not have their feet to the flames at all. At least they shouldn't.
Yeah, and Aaron, great perspective from Aaron here. But when Aaron says we may have to wait until year 2 or 3 to really know what we're dealing with here, that is a spot-on take. And it's a perfectly reasonable, logical way to look at quarterback development. In a world and a league where that level of patience is dwindling by the day. So, I mean, it's 2 games, and a lot of people are like, out, done.
Yeah, that's great.
I just saw someone in the comments in all capital letters, Thor's career is over. 2 games.
Wow, his career's over.
Thorski.
His career's over, but I hate to hear that. I hate to hear that. Well, but this is where Kevin O'Connell has to help. Like the biggest Phil, you're a disgrace. George,
man voice.
Hey, it's nice to hear from George. George Washington.
Philip.
But the thing that we have to keep, but the thing that you have to do then is that's fine if it's going to take some time. It should. But the thing that Kevin O'Connell has to do then is he has to embrace something that he doesn't like to, and that's the run game. Like there are ways to get around this. You don't have to just say, well, it's going to take 2 years, so we're going to basically have to punt. I mean, the Vikings purposely built a roster, if they get guys back, that can be formidable. But you also can't be like, okay, Aaron Jones is going to play. He's going to start. Mason's not. I'm not going to hand the ball off as much. Like, you are not dealing with Kirk Cousins or Sam Darnold. I know that Darnold had been a mess, but think about all he had been through, right? Like, the reference points were monumental. So Kevin O'Connell can do a better job of assisting JJ McCarthy in game to have more, or the offense to have more success. Yeah, this is true, Zach.
Zach says,
he did a post game right now. He's probably excited right now.
Yeah, Zach says Cowherd's going to be bricked tomorrow.
But he tried to. But Cowherd spent last week trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. So now is he going to take the tube and squeeze it again?
Yeah, I don't. This is why with young quarterbacks, you really can't have super definitive takes in small sample sizes. You need to let sample size play out. But again, we don't live in that world. We don't live in a world of patience in 2025. All right, who's next on Vikings Vent Line here? Purple Daily YouTube channel.
Okay, we'll try Chris again. Chris, do you have us now here on Vikings Vent Line?
Hi, can you hear me?
We got you, man.
That's my fault. I didn't realize how the mute worked. Guys, I love you. I've been listening to you guys for multiple years. I will say this. I hit the double hitter tonight. I was on KFan and on your program.
Wow. Are you about to rehash the take that you brought to KFXN radio, or is this like a fresh take you're bringing to us?
I wish I could say that it was a fresh take, but it is a take that I want you guys to hear because I think I honestly treat you guys with much more esteem than I treat KFan, if that's okay to say. I honestly don't think KOC trusts JJ the way that he tells the media that he does. I was looking at the play calling, and it just looks like he doesn't really trust his quarterback the way that he's telling people that he does. And I'm wondering if you guys feel the same way. Obviously, I'll take my answer off the air. I'll let you guys go and get on with the show. But hey, I love you guys. I've been listening to you for forever. And thank you for being my Vikings connection.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris, thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
For everything you do.
See you, Chris.
Appreciate you, man.
I would say this. I think KO might trust him too much at times, and if anything else, I think that KO hasn't decided exactly how much he trusts him. But there were some plays tonight where I thought that it put too much, especially with the offensive line breaking down at various times. So no, I would say that he trusts him a little bit too much, and probably should have gotten him. Logically, it wouldn't have been that hard. Some more help. So yeah, I didn't see enough kid gloves, if that makes sense.
Dude, from just the evidence from tonight, he trusts JJ McCarthy the way Andy Reid trusts Patrick Mahomes in some of these situations, which sounds crazy and is crazy if that's the way Kevin feels about it. But 3rd and 18 in the first half, most coaches in any walk of football with an inexperienced quarterback would run a little draw play or a screen, just a little some quick hitter thing. If you break it, you break it, but you punt the ball, right? No. He has J.J. McCarthy drop back, long developing route, Adam Thielen, 35 years old over the middle, 19-yard completion. That's a super high level of trust for your quarterback. At the end of the first half, he had McCarthy drop back twice. The first one, I can't remember if it was a penalty or something. It's like, okay, maybe we put that one to bed, right? Nope. Drops him back again with 10 seconds to go. And the only positive outcome is if you hit like a 40-yard pass, which they did to get into field goal range because there's not enough time to run a drive. So he's like, again, how many coaches trust a first-year, second game in the league starter? And to me, it's a little too much trust. I know those plays worked, but just lean into some easier things. I guess it's a great sign that you trust your quarterback that much. It means things are going well behind the scenes, and you have grandiose plans for him. But man, it just the 3rd and 1, like throw the ball 40 yards down the field to Jalen Naylor. I don't know. Let's keep rocking here.
Yeah,
Vikings Vent Line.
Yeah, let's go to Jay next year.
Oh.
Jay, what's up?
You guys hear me?
Yes,
yeah, we got you, Jeff.
Okay. All right. It's been a while since I've been on here. It's been a couple years. But like first thing I do want to say, and I made notes for this too. I think everyone crapping on McCarthy. He's obviously so young. He's 22. So we need to think a little bit more rational here. And I'd also want to talk about why this happened. I dug up some stats a while ago, but since Kevin O'Connell took over as head coach in 2022, the Vikings, they've led the NFL in rhythm passing rate. And every single season, basically rhythm passing rate is slightly deeper pass, more downfield, like what KOC loves to do in the system with Addison, Jefferson. And McCarthy led the NFL in week 1 with 65% of his passes being thrown in between 2.5 to 4.0 seconds. Basically, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, this basically means KLC likes to help out his quarterback. He likes designer downfield shots. And in week 1, McCarthy led the NFL in these types of passes. The great thing about these passes is when you have receivers like Addison, like Jefferson downfield, you're rewarded for this type of aggression. The downside is obviously the ball is held a lot longer, like we've seen with Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold. So you need good pass protection. But we knew Darasaw was likely not playing beginning of the season. And when we think of Sam Darnold's failure with the Rams against the Lions, even when we think of Kirk Cousins' failure, we all remember it came back to pressure. And tonight the Falcons had a 60% pressure rate. This was the highest mark that they've had in 10 years. They had 5 sacks in the first half. And the Vikings obviously made changes this offseason. They overhauled 2 guards, a center, and they had the best left tackle, but coming off a huge injury. McCarthy, as we can see, he's obviously not Jaden Daniels. He's not Caleb Williams. He can't mitigate pressure the way that these other quarterbacks can. But games like this were going to happen. I knew they were going to happen. It's growing pains. Now, back to everyone blaming him. Is he to blame? I don't think so. The biggest problem, and everyone has made this point, and it's been noticeable, is he has a very slow release. And you can see that with the difference between Michael Penix Jr. and him. It takes a while for that ball to leave his hands. It reminds me of Kyle Anderson shooting a 3 from the Timberwolves. And he has a lack of arm strength paired with occasional lack of athleticism. Like he's not Daniels. He's not Williams. He can't move like that. but he can scramble and he can get a first down. Obviously, he took that option in to the end zone, but he also lacks velocity when it's not a rhythm pass, where he has times to charge up, and you can see it on the breakers in the NFL. DBs are obviously way better at jumping them in the NFL than in college, such as week 1, where he obviously threw a pick 6. And you can see it when he's also rushing things and processing in the pocket. And this all is very obvious when the pass protection isn't perfect as it's been. And he's a sophomore quarterback. He's 22. He has a lot of time to grow. Youngest starting quarterback in NFL, so I'm not worried. But I did have another point I'd love for you guys to talk about, and I have a hot take here. I think it was a mistake that the Vikings passed on Will Johnson or Amarion Hampton for Donovan Jackson. And as Mackie has made the point, Jerwin's just obviously old, and his contract was really easy to get out of the first year. So I thought getting that type of running back, a Saquon Barkley type running back, Bijan, the type that can just change a game overnight with a big run, would have put this offense in a different position with a quarterback like McCarthy, and it gives him even more help. And back to Will Johnson, I mean, I think a true shutdown corner is way more valuable than a starting guard. That's you just can't find that anymore in the NFL. And Will Johnson has been proving all the haters wrong and all the doubters about his injury that he has absolutely been shutting down his side of the field. So, but that's my point. Thank you, guys.
All right, Jay. Thanks for coming on, man. It's so early to crown Omari and Hampton that type of running back. That's I mean, it would be great to have that type of running back, a Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley type. I think if a running back is going to maximize his potential and pop, it would be that system, the Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman system. But do you think so on McCarthy's release, now that you've seen it with full game speed now, regular season game speed?
Yeah.
It's definitely slower than Michael Penix's.
Oh, not even close.
Some of the out routes, the interceptions and the near interceptions, there's a little bit of a theme here where he's trying to push the ball out to a certain spot.
Yep.
He doesn't lack velocity on throws between the numbers, sort of up the field. I mean, he has a howitzer on some of those throws.
But but to
on
the
some
sidelines,
of the more outbreaking throws, there's been some timing issues for sure.
Yeah, he's got to speed up his release, and which I think can be done. And he's not Tebow, but he definitely needs to make his decision too. I think part of this is he's taking too long to make the decision, and then he does have what I would consider to be a little bit of a elongated release. So both of those are deadly. But he's got to make a decision. There was one tonight. I think it was a check down to Jordan Mason maybe. And Mason, went out to pass protect, didn't have a guy to chip, so he just went to the flat, towards the flat. Mm-hmm. And McCarthy threw the ball to him, and he caught it. But it was dude, you got to make the decision quicker. He was looking at him. He was staring him down. It's don't stare him down. It's a check down. Make the damn throw. So, yes, I do think it's funny because I didn't see, and perhaps it was Vantage Point, I didn't think in training camp his release looked nearly this slow. It definitely does. And then on the offensive line thing, here's where I struggle with this. How long have we bitched about the guards? Rightfully so, by the way. And then you're well, it's easy to find a guard. Well, that's what the Vikings thought for years. That's what Rick Spielman always said. I'll just find guards. I'll go to the trash bin and I'll pick a couple guards up. And the reality is you can't. So I really struggle with okay, a running back, a really good one is great. But you can't guarantee me of that. So it's is a guard not as important as a running back? That's pass protection. That's running. This, again, is where I'm frustrated tonight right now, especially with O'Connell, because I felt like O'Connell didn't rely on the run at all. That's the point. You're Donovan Jackson, if he can road grade, it's going to look really good, but you got to give him a chance to road grade.
Don't you think once Darasaw comes back, and hopefully it's against Cincinnati, and you've got Darasaw and you've got Donovan Jackson over there, that now it's time, ramp up the run game, and also McCarthy can feel all right, I'm not going to have someone coming around and swiping at once I hit the top of my drop for a strip sack. So we still have at least a couple more here for sure, and we'll have more thoughts on some of the press conference stuff that's coming out here too before we wrap up Vikings Vent Line. But who's next, Declan?
Yeah, let's go to Jacob next year. What's up, Jacob? You're on Vikings Vent Line.
What's going on, guys? It's been a tired one. This guy's barely holding on over here.
Oh, what's his name? Good boy.
That's Thruxton, the big doodle boy.
But such a doodle.
He's been through this. The 3-month-old hasn't, so I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed she had to go through that tonight. But and then the only silver lining, I guess, is my dad's out hunting, who's the one who brought me in. This one might have killed him. Honestly, the heart might have just went watching that. But no, honestly, I think my hot take tonight is just, I wouldn't say I'm calling for KOC's head by any means. The dude's a great coach. But I think we got to bring shrink the head back down a little bit. This QB guru, this coaching, like coach of the year, well deserved, but he gets ahead of his skis in the play calling. I think we talked about it. It's been talked about a lot tonight. And in terms of this system you can't just make things fit it. We got to ultimately fit what we have to it. And to the previous caller, like, you can take a high-end running back. That's great, and we've had Adrian Peterson. Where'd that get us? But we have guards now. We have offensive line, but we have Jordan Mason. Like, hammer the ball up the field, simplify this game, take the pressure off McCarthy. It's not his fault. The dude is 22. I mean, the dude is a child pretty much at this point, playing with men, and he's going to have his ups and downs. Like, and it's all fun and games when you're playing the Bears. We saw what happened to them today. But I think ultimately KOC needs to dial it back, realize he is a great coach and we have all the resources, but simplify the game plan. Hammer the ball home, screens, short passes. I think, Chancey said, where's the slant route? Where's a quick slant? Just get Jefferson to make a move off the line. He's the best receiver in the game. Let's let him get 5 yards of separation and get him the ball. And then we can start talking KOC back into this aura where, like, he's won Super Bowls before. But he hasn't won one yet. Flores is a good defense play caller, but he's not. His defense isn't designed to win games and take the team to the end. It's designed to protect the lead, to put pressure on teams who are trying to push the ball down the field. And we're not giving them the opportunity now, and they're getting gassed. So if you want to build McCarthy up, start him slow. We walk before we run, just like my 3-month-old. She's learning to use her hands, right? Let's let him learn step by step, and we'll get there. But KOC, just dial it back a little bit, my guy, and then I think we're there. But pound the ball with Jordan Mason. We might win a few more ball games. So thank you guys. Love you. Right. Keep watching and have a great night.
Thanks, Jacob. Man. Thank you, man. Yeah, appreciate it. Looks like our last one is.
Yeah, where'd Phil go?
Not there. We can wait. We can wait for him here. Also, a couple things coming out from the locker room here that are worth touching on for sure. And by the way, tomorrow we'll be live again on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, just as we are the day after every Vikings game at 9 a.m. Central Time for our hottest takes. It's my turn for the pie chart. It'll be the first pie chart of blame of the season. We'll do some silver linings, which maybe people will be more ready to hear silver linings after sleeping on it. But before we get into some final thoughts and a couple notes from these press conferences here, Underdog is a great place to hit up during football season. Dex?
Yeah, there's pick'ems going on, which is super exciting. You can go higher and lower on so many certain things. You can do cross-sport entries. They have even brand new things that are coming on Underdog. More information coming on that here soon, but also just daily drafts, PGA, NBA, and NHL seasons will be here before we know it. But if it's primetime football, if it's any type of football, go in those pick'ems, ride the higher or lower. Send me the screenshots, too, of what you win. I'd love to show those out. Play $5, get $50 in bonus funds. Go download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code SCORE, SKOR.
While you're at it, Dex, 2 men in a truck here to help those of you that are in moving need during the fall months.
Yes, yeah. Make sure you just hire the experts here. You don't have to worry about who has a truck, who has the time to make this work. Gosh, I have to get all my friends, and then you're dragging your friends all around. It's a whole thing. 2 men in a truck makes the moving process so much easier. I've moved a lot over the last 5 years. Knock on wood, I'm not going to be moving anytime soon, but 2 men in a truck made that move so simple for me. It was easily the least amount of stress I've had to deal with. Go to 2meninatruck.com to get your quote today. No hidden fees, no service charges. Phil used them. I have used them. Tell them that Purple Daily sent you. Go to 2meninatruck.com.
And Judd, maybe the Vikings themselves will have more success with the scratch game ticket than the actual game that they play.
Oh, that's 100% right. Look, the Vikings might have had a stinker tonight and might have lost, but with the new Viking scratch game, this could be your year or your season or your day, because each time that you play the scratch game, you have a chance at $100,000 plus great second chance prizes like cash and Viking season tickets. So just say I'm in and play the new Vikings scratch game from the lottery today. Must be 18 or older to play. Our friends at the Minnesota Lottery want to make you a winner.
So Justin Jefferson said that he is seeing similar defensive looks to what he's seen in the past. I'm getting this from our friends at 5 Eyewitness News, posted the video here, aggregated by Vikings fan page. We need to figure out ways of moving the ball downfield, Jefferson said. It all just leads back to executing, all 11 doing their job. You know, Collinsworth did kind of the judge. You didn't get to hear the broadcast, but they panned in on Jefferson after the game was basically over. And Collinsworth did the fear-mongering thing where he said, you got, here's a guy, you got to wonder what a guy like Justin Jefferson's thinking. You know, he's not getting the ball, and he did kind of that whole thing for a couple minutes. Is that something to be worried about?
Well, I think right now the thing to be concerned about is the fact that they're not doing it consistently and they're not doing it nearly enough. So, like, before I'm going to be concerned, I mean, first of all, he just signed a big contract. But second of all, you're not going to win games if you just say he's being taken away. Like, that drives me crazy. Now, is JJ going to throw him the ball where he wants it all the time? Probably not. But that gets back to O'Connell. How do you scheme ways to get him the ball? How do you scheme ways to let him make plays? And I do think, in all candidness, that the return of Jordan Addison is going to help out with that. That's definitely going to make. I mean, Jalen Naylor, I think, had a pretty good start to the season. Adam Thielen is a shell of the guy that left here. Like, he could catch the ball possession guy, but I mean, he is slow now. So the return of Addison certainly helps. But I think against the Bengals, you got to come out with a game plan that's like, how do we get the ball in his hands? I mean, O'Connell, quite frankly, and I've been saying this all show, Kevin O'Connell's going to have to go outside his comfort zone for this offense. Right now, he needs to step outside. He needs to open the door and step outside the comfort of his home, and he needs to go out in the cold, and he needs to understand that that's going to have to be the way until this gets hopefully clicking at some point. But right now, it's not. 7 of 8 quarters have been bad. That's too much.
All right, I think our guy Phil looks like he has returned to his computer there.
Phil,
Vikings
what's going on,
Vent
man?
Line. What's up, Phil?
Hey, thank you for letting me join. Phil, Dex, Sports Dad, love y'all. Y'all do a great job.
Thanks,
Listen, tonight, again, like last week, way too conservative to start the game. Way too much underneath, check down, short route, run the ball, vanilla. Open it up. Let JJ cook from the start. We came out way too vanilla from the jump. Yeah, injuries hurt, but let him rip. Let him go, dude. You got the best receiver in the game out there. Hawkinson has been just a non-factor in 2 games straight because we're not sending him out there to do anything. You got a great receiving back. On one play, we saw it. Great. Let Jones get out there. And, your main ball carrier needs to be Mason. Besides that, this loss is on KOC. And honestly, it should be 2 losses on KOC. If not for the heroics in game 1, we would be talking about it's 2 losses because KOC just did not call the plays that we are capable of executing for 2 games. These defenses that we played, great, fine. Give them all the credit in the world. Offensive line injuries hurt, yes. You can't chip. You can't help out your left tackle. Where is the play calling? Like, The biggest disappointment in 2 games straight has been the play calling.
Phil, thank you for jumping in here on Vikings Vent Line. Yeah, I mean, the play calling is something that I think is going to be under a microscope even more so when Christian Darasaw is back, because now you have, like Phil was bringing up, well, why don't you have some chipping help? Well, they were doing some of that, and that takes a receiver or a tight end out of a play for a minute or a running back or whatever. But yeah, like in the meantime, until you get your full allotment back, including Jordan Addison, it's up to the head coach to figure out, all right, what am I working with after 2 games here, and how can I dial some things up that I don't think this is where I disagree with Phil. He's saying turn him loose, turn him loose. You can't turn him loose when Jalen Naylor is your number 2 wide receiver and Walter Rouse is your starting left tackle in week 3.
He's also, I mean, I do not think McCarthy is ready to be turned loose. Like, I think that would be the worst thing possible. So, yeah, this is more of a how are you going to manage the game? Manage it. And we can go from there. Putting it all on his plate, though, and like going, greatest show on turf, I think would be a disaster, too. And look, I mean, last week would have been a lot different if it hadn't been for one 15-minute segment of that game. Like, last week would have had this same exact tone. So the reality is McCarthy and the Vikings pulled it out. He was somehow named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, which I'm still not exactly sure, but I really don't care. But, this is the conversation that would have been on the show last Monday night and then into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So, yeah, there's stuff that needs to be figured out right now because this team should be a playoff team, and if that's going to be the case, you can't just sort of kick the can down the road now and say, oh, too bad. How are you going to fix it? Which will be a tremendous, tremendous challenge to Kevin O'Connell, and so far he's shown that he can usually rise to challenges, so we'll see.
There's some chatter in the football timeline of my Twitter account here. Nate Tice, somebody had retweeted Football Insights. A lot of chatter from like smart analytical football people, and like Nate Tice watches a ton of film too, about JJ McCarthy throwing to his left, and that was a thing coming out of college, that like his mechanics throwing to his left, accuracy throwing to his left. And it's a conversation being had after that game, because tonight he only attempted, I think, 3 passes to the left of the numbers. Everything else was either center cut up the field or very heavy to the right.
Yeah, that's true. And some of that wasn't good.
Yeah.
And so there's 2 problems there. Number one, if you can't make throws to your left or don't feel comfortable, or you're inaccurate, that leads to incompletions or maybe interceptions.
Yeah.
If you're unwilling, defenses are going to know before the ball is snapped, it's likely that we can kind of cut the field in half and maybe be more aggressive jumping routes on this side. So
it's not really an option. Hey, Kevin O'Connell.
No.
JJ, what's up? Not throwing to my left.
You know what's wild, though? Russell Wilson has kind of gotten away with this throughout his 15-year career, where if you look at his throwing charts, he very rarely throws over the middle. He's like strictly an outside the numbers and deep shot guy. Threw for like 400 yards today in a loss, too.
Yeah, until that last pass. He looked great until that last stupid overtime pass.
Bad. He went YOLO and lost the game for them. Yep. So a lot to be figured out here for this football team, for this quarterback. Any other just final thoughts from you guys before we take a deep breath, take a nap, and do some hottest takes in the morning?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would just say, as much as ugly as that is, I think just like a quick takeaway is I'm kind of sick of the Vikings embarrassing themselves on primetime games. Like they had the great win against the Packers, right? That was a Sunday night game. The last week of going into before the Lions game, so like that was awesome. Vikings came through in a big way there, but a couple bad playoff loss. The playoff loss and Week 18 against the Lions were stinkers. Monday Night Football was obviously outside of the fourth quarter, which turned out to be fun, but at the end of the day, that game was kind of boring and hard to watch. And then this one. So it's just like every time we always like, God, I wish this team could be in primetime more. And the Vikings do not play consecutive games at noon until early November. So like we got all these wacky times right now. So just a kind of a funny little observation from me there. But hottest takes tomorrow. I don't have anything damning on JJ. Spoiler, I really don't. I'm not going to completely bury the quarterback after 2 games. But there's some interesting avenues I think we all will probably bring to the table here tomorrow on the show, which I'm excited for.
My thought is this is going to be a very interesting week. Going to be a very interesting week to see what the coach says, how much he tries to be positive, how much he is actually realistic about this. I fully expect him and JJ to be as positive as they can possibly be, but there is now enough on film, as the coaches like to say, that we have some ideas about what the problems can be and what has to be fixed.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to go to work. I would guess Kevin O'Connell's not going to sleep well tonight, and I bet he's going to be up very late or early tomorrow watching film.
A thought just popped into my head. I don't know if it's going to be a hottest take for tomorrow, but just a discussion to be had about if this team is going to win like 11 or 12 games, which I don't think this loss takes that off the table. I do think this loss makes the next 3 games going into your bye week really, really important. If you're going to make the playoffs, you have to have a winning record in your first 5 games, looking at the schedule coming out of the bye, which we've talked about for months. But I want to know like what Kevin O'Connell's vision is for when you do get to some of those real teams. The Ravens are on your schedule, and some of the Packers and the way they look. What is your vision for beating those teams? And is the way that these first 2 games has played out offensively specifically, like, is that how you're beating the Packers? The way that you've played, I don't get like some of its execution, but in terms of like your strategy, the first couple games. We can get into all this and more tomorrow on our hottest takes. Before I Die with Jason and Jesse and Leighton. O-line committee tomorrow too. Who's the Mike? And all sorts of Purple Daily episodes throughout the rest of the week here too. 365 days a year of Vikings takes on Purple Daily. And Vikings Vent Line is the place to be after every single Vikings game, win or lose. For the sports dad at the stadium, for Dex spinning plates, I am Phil, and this is Purple Daily. See you guys tomorrow.